Hi, I'm presenting the giant pop-up book called métamorphose des animaux extraordinaires. It's going to be a pop-up book, a life-size pop-up book, so it's going to be very big, like 4 feet wide and 8 feet long. And when you open it up, it's going to have a bunch of pop-ups, and when it's fully opened, it's 8 feet large and 8 feet long. And so a bit of my vision with the pop-up book is to have a more have people get to interact with something that's colorful in the middle of the desert, and still give that kind of like old charm of what it's like to open a book. There will be many pages. Here is the exploration of a moth. In the other pages there's going to have a frog, the immortal jellyfish, which is this pretty cool jellyfish that never dies. It's a real animal, and once it reaches adulthood, it goes back to being a polyp again, or like a baby jellyfish. So it has a never-ending cycle of like getting old and then going back to being young. So there are like little themes like that that I want to explore in this book and have it still be educational. Like, for example, when a moth is in its cocoon, its body mostly liquefies, and then and its cells rearrange itself, and then it becomes until it rearranges into being a moth. So there's a couple little cool science facts that I wanted to inject in there. So on full scale, this will be quite a bit different, but this is just to give you a general idea of what it might like, what it could look like. I would like to integrate a fair bit more pop-ups a little bit everywhere. You know, there's all sorts of little interactive things that people can do. I also, on the full scale version, would like to do more of a very like 1800s antique aesthetic, which is pretty, you know, when people open up the book, it's like a leather-bound book, so it just kind of has like this antique feel to it. So when people start opening it up, they keep on getting surprised that there's pages. I have brought a similar art installation to a regional burn in Montreal, and it was super well received. People got so excited flipping the pages. Unfortunately, that one was pretty low budget. It was made out of cardboard, and it still had a wooden frame, and it was actually unnecessarily, we put metal frame in there too, which was totally unnecessary in the end. But it was, you know, it was the first prototype, and I'll give you guys a link of that below. Definitely not my favorite aesthetic, but it is what it was. You know, it had yeah, so this has already been tested before, and now I'd like to bring it in like a more high quality scale with Arduinos, programming the different lights everywhere, and I'll just give you an example of what it could look like. You have a balloon that's lit up and little stars a little bit everywhere. Maybe we'll get it to twinkle. Or something, you know? Yeah. There's going to be a lot of different aspects of interaction with it. There's going to be soundscapes as well, which kind of gives the viewer, it really gets the viewer immersed inside the book as an experience. Yeah. And the whole thing itself is built fairly light, but very strong. So I'll show you how I do that. I do it by having, there's going to be a wooden frame. So this is just 1x2s and 1/8 inch plywood. But to make that sturdy, I put an internal grid system in it. So this is just 1/8, or it could be 1/4 inch plywood that when we put on the vertical, it makes it very strong. So I'll have a little grid system, maybe like 2 inches apart. And these holes allow it to stay light, but still keeps its strength. So people can step like right on that. I can step right on that, and it's not even attached to anything. Here, this also prevents anything from, you know, turning around, or it really makes it so that when people step on it, it steps on it straight and doesn't cause any torsion in the frame. So yeah, it will be a fairly light book. Pretty much anyone will be able to turn the pages. And that's what we were able to do with the first pop-up book that I made, was a lot of, you know, anyone could just turn the pages. Anyways, I hope you like my concept and my idea and be able to help me bring it to its full glory. Alright, thank you, and have a good one.